I'm coming to you, Sanjuji. He's not used terror. He did not talk about strategy. There was no talk about war, conflict, nothing. What did he speak about? What would actually matter to these nations in Central Asia and where nobody can fight India? That is one, medical tourism, medical help, medical coordination, trade, economics. Let's work on economics, let's work together, and that we are ready to manufacture and supply. So he's actually hit that raw nerve where everybody wants to engage because they all want business. Nobody will say no to business. And everybody is emerging out of this in this post-COVID era, struggling to get back and get their economy back on track. And they're seeing the India model where India is continuing to grow. We are continuing to push forward. We also have a national logistics policy coming in, which the Prime Minister is going to inaugurate tomorrow evening at 5:30. But Sanju Verma ji, somewhere the big headline is missing. Somewhere India is also dependent on Russia. That conversation which Prime Minister had with Vladimir Putin, he said, I'm looking at fuel security. We are going to focus. Russia is an old friend. But before he left for SCO, he said America is a very important strategic partner. So is he telling the Americans, don't give the upgrade of F-16s to the Pakistanis? Or is he telling the Russians that we need more of the S-400s?
You know, Anand, I think what makes this SCO meet quite unique is the fact that it is the first one that we will be having in person after the last one that was held in 2019 at Bishkek. It is the first SCO Summit where Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi have actually got an opportunity to thrash out many issues post the Galwan fallout in 2020. This is also the first time that you have Iran now, which will be formally made a part of the SCO. I very quickly want to highlight one thing which Prime Minister Modi has reinforced. I think the phrase that he used about building reliable, resilient and diversified supply chains. I think for me that is the big takeaway because Anand, don't forget, we are living in a post-COVID world where the two black swan events that have affected virtually every stakeholder globally are of course the pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict which is currently still on. So I think for the Prime Minister to focus on getting back supply chains on track and speaking at length about food and energy security is very important, Anand, because don't forget, it's not just India. In fact, I think the Modi government has done a commendable job in reining in especially food inflation. Globally, food prices, be it wheat, corn, sunflower, soya bean prices have shot up.
Because we clamped down on exports.
40% year on year.
We've clamped down on exports.
Just take 20 seconds.
No, please, I'm talking to you only.
20 seconds.
I'm just saying we have clamped down on exports. We've tried to restrict the exports so that we can maintain the internal supplies. And of course, the moment the export clampdown happened, prices of rice, wheat, oil, all of them came down. That's also a reality. But here, when you talk about diversified supply chains, Sanjuji, you are going to work. You are working with nations like Iran. Chabar port atka hua hai. You want to get it done, but Iran
I'm
is.
just coming to that.
Okay.
May I just take 20 seconds?
Okay.
So A, Prime Minister's focus on food and energy security. B, the Prime Minister on this platform and elsewhere as well, he has made it categorically very clear that while we did not openly support the aggression against Ukraine, we are not going to pull back in terms of oil imports from Russia. More so given that Russia is the third largest oil producer in the world, produces more than 12% of the world's crude oil. Also, Ukraine is very important. Russia and Ukraine together account for more than 25.4% of the world's total wheat exports. What I'm trying to say is that in the kind of tumultuous scenario that almost every stakeholder finds itself in, India, I think, has managed to de-hyphenate its interests and balanced out things between the need to have a strategic partnership with the US on one hand and at the same time ensure that there is always a concurrent dialogue with China and Russia. So I think we've done this balancing bit fairly well, and I think Iran coming into SCO will help us in a big way, Anand. Don't forget the Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, transmission line has been hanging fire for a while.
But
don't forget that the international north-south trade corridor called the INSTC, which basically was to, give a push to trade between India, Iran and Uzbekistan. That has also been hanging fire for a while. So I think with Iran's entry, these two large projects will get that much needed boost, which I think will get supply chains back on track
will it get
for
that?
a large part of Central Asia as well.
My larger point